criticism. Did you watch Kirk Cousins in the second half last night on the road? Off the surgery, 13 of 16, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, 149 passer rating. Michael Penix ain't winning that game. Kirk Cousins is. Michael Penix also isn't taking a beating like Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. He'll be better on the bench than on his back. He's not getting his confidence shattered. I told you at the time, and I'll say it again. Bryce Young, Caleb Williams. I mean, these guys sound different after a 2-3 game losing streak. They sound different. Penix will be fine. This is very Mahomes, Alex Smith. And Atlanta's good, by the way. O-line, last night, controlled the second half. Run game, maybe the best running back room in the league. Tight end, wide receiver, strong. And Kirk Cousins, for the record, in the second half last night was insane. But if you go look at Kirk Cousins between Minnesota and Atlanta, his last 10 starts, he's got a 102 passer rating, completing almost 70% of his throws. The dude's made 4 Pro Bowls. He's the best quarterback, in my opinion. I like Baker, but the best quarterback in his division. Come on now. The move always made sense. It is never bad in the NFL to have arguably the best quarterback in a division. He didn't sign a Dak contract. He didn't sign a Mahomes he didn't sign one of those contracts. If he starts this year and a chunk of next year, you can move off it and move if he wants to play. But it's amazing. There's a reason Belichick's on TV and not coaching, because he ran out of quarterbacks. Atlanta's got 2. So it's not the end of the world. Philadelphia lost. This is a team that has a chance to win their division. And for the record, C.J. Stroud is an outlier. Mahomes sat for a year. Lamar sat for 10 games. Kirk Cousins, in 2 years, played 4 games to start. You're seeing these older quarterbacks. You're seeing people who are pushed to the side. They're doing fights. The young guys that are man overboard. You think Penix wins that game? You want Penix on his back? I don't. So Atlanta's got an excellent offensive line, excellent running backs, above average weapons. I like their coach, and a veteran quarterback who controlled the game in the second half on the road. Every fan base. Every single fan base. There's no patience in this league, right? And if your moves don't pay off immediately, every fan base in the NFL would take a top, outside of maybe Kansas City, would take a top 10 quarterback, top 12 quarterback in the league, and the best backup. And you're all freaking out. Atlanta's good. Green Bay's done it 3 times. This is what Green Bay does. They draft a really good guy, let him sit and watch football for a few years. I don't know. Favre, Rodgers, Jordan Love, it's paid off 3 times. So, I don't know. I watched this game last night. Everybody's freaking out. I picked Atlanta to win 12 games. I picked them to arguably fight for number 1 seed. The first week was a disadvantage because their former coach was the Steelers' offensive coordinator. He knew all their personnel. That was a coaching disadvantage. But last night, my staff made fun of me yesterday. I came into the morning meeting. I'm like, I like Atlanta to win. I think Atlanta, and they're all like, don't say that on the air. Literally, don't say it on the air. I think Atlanta can play. I think they have arguably, after Detroit, the best offensive line in the league. And everybody always craps on Kirk Cousins. You watch the second half? You watch that final drive? Bang, 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 touchdown, game over. Here's Kirk after.
It's so important to find ways to win, and that's how you put together a great season is, when you have these games that could go either way, you find a way to have it break your way. And that's the way this league is. And so when we can find those inches, it can really change the tail of the season. So we're going to have more of those up ahead, and we're going to have to keep, as a whole team, finding ways to make the plays to get it done.
Okay, now let's talk.
All right, well, we're going to talk Philly in a different video because I just want to focus on the Atlanta Falcons. So if you're watching this video and you want to watch Philadelphia Eagles, when this video is posted, so will the Philadelphia Eagles post as well. But okay, yeah. Listen, I think a lot of people got, scared with week 1 with Kirk Cousins, because everybody was expecting this team to kind of hit the ground running. The Atlanta Falcons, there's so much hype around the Atlanta Falcons. And like kind of Colin said, he had them fighting for a number 1 seed. And a lot of people did. I had the Atlanta Falcons as a top team in the NFL going into the season. And I confess, even I was like nervous after watching that week 1. I was like, well, I don't know how good the defense is, and Kirk Cousins wasn't really moving. I mean, like even Troy Aikman was kind of laughing about it when he was kind of discussing that game, where he was just like, Kirk, and he started laughing, like it wasn't exactly looking too great. Like it was confusing. It was a confusing game. But then this game is peak Kirk Cousins and what the Atlanta Falcons can do. Now, they did get lucky. We have to admit, if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, you have to be it was very fortunate that Saquon Barkley dropped that ball. Saquon catches that ball 99 out of 100 times, right? So you have to be honest about that. But these games were never about winning and losing. Granted, it was more important that the Falcons win this game since they had already dropped that first game. But like I always talk about, in the beginning of the season, I'm just looking for who this team is and not so much about the win-loss. Because if the Falcons ended up losing this game, I still would have been able to say lots of positives, lots of greats about their O-line, about their run game, about Kirk Cousins looking more comfortable, getting going, right? Like all of those things matter. Although a lot of his yards did come at the back end, it's still, you can see why you now went out and got Kirk Cousins, right? He can control an offense. He does not get flustered. This is the difference between a true seasoned veteran. That's what you get with Kirk Cousins. A guy who throws a beautiful ball, commands an offense, and just is composed. We're seeing all these young quarterbacks be not composed. That might be arguably the defining characteristic of any of these young quarterbacks, especially the rookies, but even some of these first, second, third year players. You know, look at Will Levis even. Look at trying to think of other more, younger quarterbacks. Outside of course, Caleb Williams and Bo Nix, is just the ability for them to just be flustered, for their eyes to be so wide, it's like lights up like it's a cartoon character's eyes, right? Like you're watching Family Guy or The Simpsons. Like you can see it through the helmet, right? There, you could just see the panic. This is what you get in a seasoned veteran. And this is why Colin is kind of putting out and Penix doesn't win that game because of pretty much of this reason. I don't feel the need to talk about Penix right now or talk about what people's reactions were months ago with that whole draft. I'm focused on what's happening right now on, September 17th, 2024. I think the Falcons fans were probably even a little like, ooh, what the heck was that week 1 game? And, like that, Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a tough defense. Okay, that's good. And it was hard to gauge the Falcons defense because the Pittsburgh offense is so specific with Justin Fields. They're trying to figure that whole thing out. They're kind of limited, so it's kind of hard to just really have strong takeaways from that game, right? Really the biggest takeaway was like, is Kirk Cousins definitely 100% recovered? Like, what's going on here? He wasn't really moving around very well. This game, I think the Eagles are a top team in the NFL, so this is a hard-fought win. And like I said, even if they ended up losing, you could still feel really good moving forward outside of course, the record being 0-2. So I think they really know what their identity is. They're going to be run first. They're going to use Kirk Cousins to do this, right? 20 for 29 is probably the max you want to be throwing with Kirk Cousins. You really do want to work that run game, be this run first team, which then really allows Kirk Cousins, I talk about this all the time, Kirk Cousins allows him to be more surgical rather than relying on him to win a shootout, right? Don't do what the Detroit Lions did, having Jared Goff throw the ball like 50 plus times or whatever the heck the final number was. This is what you're looking for. You probably want like 25 passing attempts. Really rely on that run game. I think Bijan Robinson looked great. I would like to see them use him in a little bit more creative, strategic ways, but that'll probably come. And, you got to get some other offensive weapons involved. For the most part, it didn't feel like they were doing that throughout the game. Like I said, at the end of the game, definitely big drive, definitely big plays, and took what the defense gave them. And so, yeah, I think I'm really excited to see the Falcons play now. Some of these just other teams right now. I want to see what they look like against the Saints, because the Saints look like they're flying high right now. And so I want to see that head-to-head matchup. I know the Bucs are feeling themselves going 2-0. I want to see those head-to-head matchups. Like all of a sudden, this division has become can't miss TV, right? Like for the longest time, I was talking about it being the NFC North, and it's like the Packers versus the Bears, and the Lions versus the Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings versus the Bears. Like I was like so excited. I still am excited, but that, with Jordan Love going down, Caleb Williams, the Chicago Bears not looking too hot, the Lions kind of looking uneven. It's kind of like, all right, well, I don't really know what's going on with those. Here, Falcons righted this ship, fortunately for them. The Bucs coming away 2-0. And the Saints 2-0, demolishing, their two teams. So I'm really, really excited to see what these teams look like The Panthers, we don't, that would be you can skip that for sure. But I'm not sure when the Falcons start to play some of these divisional games. But I'm really, really excited for those games, because those, I think, really will be just really tough, right? Really tough, competitive, probably looking like this, 22-21, coming down to the final second. Just exciting stuff ahead. And in that situation, if it's going to be such a close game, you're going to be comfortable, right? Kirk Cousins shows that he can get the job done when it matters most. And that's what you need out of your quarterback. That's what you need when you're trying to actually fight for the number 1 seed, when you actually are trying to fight for the division and go on and be a true contender. I did a lot of videos on the Atlanta Falcons going into this season about them potentially being a true contender. And I think Dan Orlovsky talked about it as well. So big win for the Falcons. Definitely exciting to see Kirk Cousins get out there, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. He definitely looked more recovered than he did week 1. And so you're going to see his progress continue to get better and better and better week to week. And yeah, exciting stuff. And I'm also excited to see how this offense continues to evolve, right? In terms of what their game plans are, what their approaches are, and yeah, how it all unfolds from there. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think are you excited with what Kirk Cousins was able to do? Do you think the Atlanta Falcons, if they were a better team, they should have won more convincingly? Or do you think a win is a win is a win? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.